5. Mozambique. Rich in resources and strategically located, this former Portuguese colony has often posted average GDP growth rates of more than 7% in the past decade. Yet it remains mired among the 10 poorest countries in the world, with severe climate conditions and political instability being some of the main culprits. To make things worse, since 2017, attacks carried out by Islamic insurgent groups have plagued the gas-rich northern part of the country. Still, according to the IMF, the economy remains in high gear. It will expand by about 5% in 2024 and 2025, and it is projected to reach double-digit growth in the latter part of the decade. 4. Democratic Republic of the Congo. Since gaining independence from Belgium in 1960, the DRC has suffered decades of rapacious dictatorship, political instability, and constant violence, making it a regular in our rankings of the world's poorest countries. About 65% of the country's roughly 100 million population gets by on less than $2.15 a day. Yet the World Bank says the DRC has the resources and potential to become one of the richest countries in Africa and a growth driver for the entire continent. The country is already the world's largest producer of cobalt and Africa's leading source of copper essentials in the production of electric vehicles. 3. Central African Republic. Rich in gold, oil, uranium, and diamonds, the Central African Republic is a very wealthy country inhabited by very poor people and has been among the poorest countries in the world for the better part of a decade. For the first time since its independence from France in 1960, in 2016, the Central African Republic has democratically elected a president, former mathematics professor and Prime Minister Faustin Archange Touadéra, who campaigned as a peacemaker who could bridge the divide between the Muslim minority and the Christian majority. Yet, while his successful election has been seen as an important step towards national reconstruction, large swaths of the country remain controlled by anti-government and militia groups. Despite problems and setbacks, in recent years growth has moderately picked up, driven by the timber industry, the revival of the agricultural sector, and the partially resumed sale of diamonds. 2. Burundi. Tiny landlocked Burundi lacks natural resources and has been scarred by a civil war lasting from 1993 to 2005, whose aftermath is still a contributing factor to its ranking of the second poorest country in the world, with about 80% of Burundi's roughly 13 million citizens relying on subsistence agriculture. Food insecurity is almost twice as high as the average for sub-Saharan African countries. Furthermore, access to water and sanitation remains very low, and less than 5% of the population has electricity. President Evariste Ndayishimiye has made an effort to relaunch the economy and repair diplomatic relationships. And in 2022, both the US and the European Union resumed aid after lifting financial sanctions. Unfortunately, while growth is picking up, inflation is projected this year to be around 22%. 1. South Sudan. The very poorest of the world's poorest countries, South Sudan has been racked by violence since its creation in 2011. Rich in oil reserves, the landlocked state of roughly 15 million represents a textbook example of the resource curse, whereby abundance fosters political and social divisions, inequality, corruption, and warfare. The majority of the population is employed in traditional agriculture, although violence and extreme climate events often prevent farmers from planting or harvesting crops. This year, an estimated 9 million people, over 60% of South Sudan's population, will be in need of humanitarian assistance.